Hey everybody, it's Dr. Levi and welcome to your show, our show, the Dr. Levi Show. Today is June 28, 2017. Spectacular, amazing day here in Los Angeles. The sky is clear, the sun is out. I'm just feeling phenomenal. So I hope you are also. Lots to discuss. This is our women's empowerment talk today. So, of course, we have an amazing woman on. She's a modern day Wonder Woman. So she has a lot to discuss about her platforms, about social media, about what she does. I can't wait to tell you about her and tell you about every title that she has. You know, the most important, of course, is mother. But when I tell you the other thing that she does is be like, you're going to be like I was, like, wait a second, how many people are we talking about here? But it's only one today. So I want to thank you for joining us. Again, today is June 28th, 2017. Well, July 4th is coming up, so get ready for that. A lot of picnicking, a lot of drinking, a lot of other stuff. But just remember, the key is moderation. Go out, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends. But again, keep in mind, as we said on the show many times, you are what you eat, drink, and smoke. So be aware of that. Why? Because I want you to be the best possible version of yourself. I want you to be amazing, spectacular, magnanimous, phenomenal, healthy, prosperous. All those things I want for you. You have to want them for yourself. So I want you to be mindful of the choice that you make when it comes to eating and drinking, because your body reflects what you put into it. Your body reflects the amount of exercise that you do. Of course, exercise, it is a lifestyle. Being fit and being healthy, it is a lifestyle. So really do what you can to stay as fit as you can. Well, as I said before, this is our women's empowerment show. And we always have on a guest who talks about her life, who talks about what she's doing in her community, talks about family, and more importantly, what I love stories about people, especially about this show, the Women Empowerment Show, about women who tell you about their journeys from where they were as children and teenagers and young women and where they are now, and how they go through these transitions of true self-acceptance and knowing that, as I already know, women are beautiful and spectacular just the way they are. They don't need any improvement. They're perfect just the way they are. And I think it's so incumbent upon us to remind women, especially young women, that they should love their bodies the way they are and not think that their body has to fit a certain mold of being a size 0 or 1, or that they have to think that, for me, beautiful, that they have to have a certain color hair, certain color eye color, or even any hair at all. I think the beauty of women is that we have to honor the goddess within each of them. Because if you think about it, they're all amazing, they're all spectacular, they're all unique. So I think the joy of speaking to women and having women in our lives is that they remind us to be better men. They remind us to be better human beings. They remind us to nurture the feminine side that we have as a man. So often, when I talk to some of my buddies, they'll be like, Levi, why do you do a show about women? Why don't you have a guy's hour? I could do a guy's hour, but I'm a guy. I'm talking about guys' issues all the time, So I want to do things that I think will have an impact societally to remind people that women should be honored. Women should be treated with equal pay. Women should be respected. Women should never be hit. Women should be in positions of power like men. So my goals are the following. How can I, as a man, as an African-American man, as a physician, surgeon, author, writer, all those other funny monikers, well, above that, I'm a man. But what can I do to help break those glass ceilings so that women can continue to do what they do best, which is to be the best versions of themselves? So I'm grateful to have on our show today Cecilia Mota. She is, you ready for this? So get your pen and paper ready, because I got a lot to tell you about her, because she really embodies the beauty of what I call the goddess diva woman. She has it all. When I met her this morning, I was really like taken aback, because when I walked in the room to say hello, it was like this mega intelligence and beauty, kind of like it was like a pow. It's like I'm here, When we talk about, I've had this statement before in the show. It was like when I walked in, she was like, "Get ready, bitches!" It was like that, It was like, whoo! I mean, she just was like, I mean, I thought, God, I haven't even spoken to her. This way she looked at me, she said, well, hi, and shook my hand. My hand was like electrified. I was like, wow. So I know this show is going to be electric, so get ready for it. I mean, it really is amazing when you meet someone who really just brings it. You know they're living their authentic self. You know they're doing what they can to make the community better, to make the world better, to make life better. So I want to thank Cecilia Mota for being with us. So let me tell you about her. So she is first and foremost a mother, an entrepreneur, a motivator, a radio show host. She is on multiple chairs that she has for nonprofits. She has her own nonprofit. Her family has a nonprofit. You know, it's like in my mind when I was reading her bio, I was thinking, how does one person do this without a team of 50? How does one person do this with such passion and vim, vitality, and vigor, and still remains a mother at heart who loves her children? And guess this, you ready for this? This is the kicker. She's not simply a mother. You ready? I got the big S word for you here. She's a single mother. You tell me that doesn't, you don't want to like just start, you know, clapping for this woman, you know, like just say it's applause time, damn it. You know, we got to let people know Cecilia Mota's in the MF house. That's what I'm talking about. This is just fantastic. So I want to welcome Cecilia Mota to the show, and thanks for joining us. I'm just on fire. Thank you so much.
I can see that.
It's great to have you on because you really do so much. You can, and what drives you to do all that you do?
Boy, I think my hardest critic, my mother.
Yes, yes, yes.
Probably so, yes.
This is just amazing, though. I mean, when I was reading your bio, I kept thinking to myself, how many people are on her team to even begin to do this? It's just great. Let's talk about your life growing up. Where are you from, and what was your family life when you were growing up?
It was a very healthy, happy family life. I grew up in Dominican Republic
Yes,
in
the
Santo
beautiful
Domingo,
DR.
the city. Oh, yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
And of course, I have this duality of growing up in the Dominican and coming to the U.S. since I was a baby because of my father's
Yes.
baseball career.
Yes.
So I made a decision very young that I did not want to live in the Dominican,
Right.
that I wanted to come to school and live in the U.S.
Yes.
because I couldn't relate to the thinking. And when you said modern women, you know, I never really saw myself like that. I feel that I am very old school, but definitely I feel that there was always that internal struggle
Yes.
to not want to be conformist,
Right.
to not want to fit into what they wanted you to be.
Yes.
And I think that's something that I still battle because at the end of the day, all humans, what do we want? Freedom.
Of course.
That's really what we
Of
want.
course.
We want to
Of
be
course.
free. So, you know, the hair is a big thing. That's how I felt the freedom.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about that at all. Not an issue for me. Yes.
So, yes, I think that when you saw me, which is what happens with a lot of people, it's the hair.
Yes.
And one time I asked someone, it's like this gentleman, I'm like, what is it when I walk into a room that sometimes it's like people just like stare at me and he just goes. He just pointed. He didn't say anything. He just goes.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Well, what was family life for you? Like your mom, your dad, your brothers and sisters? How many of each?
Well, first of all, I grew up in a very large family.
Which is
There's
great.
8 of us.
Fantastic.
I'm the first, and I have a sister who is the 6th.
Yes.
So it took a while to have a sister. We have, you know, like an 8-year difference.
Yes.
So I used to spend a lot of time by myself in my bedroom.
Yes.
That hasn't changed.
Right.
That's my office. That's
Yes.
like my refuge. That's my everything there.
Yes.
You know, until I have the pleasure, the ability to have my own office.
Of course.
But it's where I can hide and really continue to be myself.
Yes.
We all need that space.
We all need a safe place.
And when you grow up in a large family, there's a lot of commotion.
There's no privacy.
All the time.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And although I was, you know, the one girl with 6 boys, we are very well behaved children.
Right.
My mother, we grew up in the times where my mom would just give us a look and that's it.
It was enough.
Exactly.
Right.
You didn't have to, say no more. And even when we visit Dodger Stadium as adults, over the years, they always say that to me. They're like, you guys were such well behaved children
Right.
because a lot of these ushers and usherettes, they have seen it all.
Oh, yeah, they have.
have seen
They
a lot
have.
of players,
Yes.
children, and families.
Yes.
So they have something to compare to.
Correct.
But Dominican Republic, it was beautiful. I don't have anything but great memories being, to the daughter of a baseball icon. There
Yes.
was always a lot of celebration.
Of
My
course.
mother is an amazing cook, an amazing host, and
An
I
amazing
definitely.
mother.
Oh my God, yes. I mean, to be able to raise, that many children, but it didn't come without a tribe.
Right.
Just like myself, although I may be a single mother,
Yes.
it's not. I don't do it alone.
Right.
And even when we were talking about how do you create a company culture on my show yesterday, I said it has to come from the leader,
Of
number
course.
one.
Of course.
And you have to recognize
Yes.
the people around you.
Yes.
And you know that one of the basic human needs is recognition.
Correct.
So those are some of the things that I've learned from my family. That's been my biggest schooling. Is
Family.
my parents. And to be able to really even decide I want to go to the US. It was hard for my parents,
Right.
being the girl and
Yes.
the first.
In the first.
Exactly. But I lived with a family, one of our compadres.
Yes.
So I lived with them for a year. I went to Pasadena City College, started in architecture. Then I thought, well, I love architecture, but I also love interior design. But
Right.
at that time, in the Dominican, was never called interior design. It was decoradora, decorator.
Got it.
So when someone went and made a presentation about the Fashion Institute, and it was like, what? There's something called interior design where it's a blend of architecture and design.
design.
I'm like, forget architecture. I'm doing this.
Right. Right.
So that was my first life. But I really did not like it.
And what did you not like about it?
I felt like I was a therapist
Interesting.
because when you're with couples and they're making decisions, there's a lot of fights, over money, a lot of fights about, I don't want flowers, I like plaids, that type of thing.
Drama.
And I think that, and it's not, I say this in the humblest of ways, I feel that I'm charismatic and people take me in, and a lot of these people took me in not just as their designer but as family.
Right.
So, but I'm also empathetic. I'm an empath, so I absorb other people's energies and
Yes.
problems. So I would go home and I would be dreaming about their problems and trying to come up with solutions,
Yes.
and it became like too much.
Right.
So
Overwhelming.
yes, I said I don't want this, and I discovered the world of textiles.
Yes.
And I fell in love with fabrics.
Really?
So I left, the remodel, all that stuff, and I went into the textile sector of the industry, and I did retail, then I did wholesale. Worked at the Pacific Design Center. Loved it. It was like
It's a beautiful place.
La La Land.
Really? Right.
The most beautiful things that you
Yeah.
can imagine that you can put in a home, you will
Right.
find it there. So
Absolutely.
this was like fantasy land all day long, 200 plus showrooms.
Wow.
And it was a great experience because everything, as you know, every step we make, you are learning something.
Absolutely.
So I went into, it was first sales, then a few months later, I was in my 20s, very young. They liked my leadership,
Yes.
and they made me like an assistant manager.
Right.
I was not planning on getting into management, but that's where my first experience started as a young person, a young professional
Right.
in a corporate world, a 100-plus-year-old company from New York at the time.
Yes.
And the older generation that had been there for 20 years or 10 years, and how they had animosity toward me because I was promoted and I had only been there for a short time.
And I'm curious now because you're an entrepreneur. So how did you deal with that type of adversity when you're just doing you? You're not trying to close the
Exactly.
door for anyone else. You're just being Cecilia Mota. So how do you deal with that type of adversarial relationship when people are trying to pull you down? But as my mother would say, when God has something for you, it's for you, and nobody can even touch it.
That's right.
You know.
Well, at the moment, sometimes you just cry. Yes.
Tough.
Yes. Sometimes you just go in the office and you cry, you suck it up, and you do your job
Right.
because reason why you're there to begin with is because you do a great job.
Absolutely. That's why they want you. That's why they hired you.
Exactly. So it was tough. It was tough because although they were disrespectful, it wasn't because I deserved to be disrespected.
Never.
It was just, there's haters. You're going to
Always.
encounter
Always.
that throughout
Always.
your life.
Always.
Whether you do good or bad, you're
Right.
going to get them.
And they help us grow. Because
Yes.
haters give us patience.
Oh,
They
iron
also give us.
sharpens iron.
There you go. I agree. I agree.
Yes.
I totally agree with you.
Yes. So that actually took me to I encountered people even back then that were so kind to me.
Yes.
And I can't even say it was of a particular nationality. It wasn't Latino because I was Latina. One of my first mentors and supporters there was a Jewish lady.
Yes.
And she's like, you're holding the fort. They don't want to hire a manager. They don't want to give you the job, but they wanted to interview the job. And the reason why I want to share this is because my role in Latina Vida, the nonprofit
Right.
that I preside,
Right.
this is what we do, is that we help women navigate the corporate politics,
Yes.
the misogyny, the sexism,
Right.
all of those things that
Right.
they encounter or possibly going to encounter or hopefully will never encounter.
Right.
So we do training.
You just want them to be
around this.
aware.
Exactly. So this is what you would call a sponsor. This
Right.
lady became my sponsor. And when she said, it's not fair, and I said, well, I'm holding the fort, but I'm not getting the pay of the manager doing the role of a manager.
Right.
What should I do? Should I ask? I said, I don't even know what the job pays. So I had to take a guesstimate. She said, I'll help you write a letter
Right.
to New York. So we wrote this letter, and I asked the regional manager if she could submit it on my behalf.
Yes.
And she was like, oh, well, this whole body thing happened. And she was she didn't want to. And I said, I just need you to submit it.
Right.
That's
Nothing
it.
else.
Exactly.
Right.
So they met me, I can't even say halfway from what I asked, but they did compensate me something,
Right.
which to me, it was a victory.
Yes.
It didn't
yes,
matter that
yes.
it wasn't what I
Right.
wanted.
But it started the narrative to change. It started the conversation.
Exactly. It wasn't like, here, thank you for, not even. It was like, it was kind of like, shut up
Oh,
type
okay.
of thing.
Got it.
That you just get the check and that was it.
That just started you to talk more.
And that's the thing. Every time you encounter one of these challenges,
Right.
you're like, heck, I'm more fire.
There you go.
You're
Exactly.
more fired up.
Exactly.
So that was my experience. Then I went into, eventually someone did recognize
Right.
the talent that I had to really move on to the next level.
Right.
So I was hired by the showroom next door. So
There you go.
exactly.
Yep. It was the blessing was coming. Didn't know where, but it was coming.
And again, I found mentors in that space.
Right.
And it was this 90-year-old man.
Yes.
Another Jewish old man.
Wow.
That was wonderful.
Fantastic.
And he loved me. And he was so funny and so kind. And he trusted me. And he taught me a lot. But it wasn't him only. There was also a couple of other individuals, a female. And I think it was his... I don't know if it was his son. I can't remember. It was a long time ago.
Yes,
but
yes.
a 20-year-old taught me Microsoft Office.
Right.
At the time, I didn't even know what a mouse was. That was the first time that they sent us to take a class. And even in class, they're like, mouse. I'm like, what are they talking about? I was so embarrassed.
Right.
But let me tell you something.
Yes.
That changed my life.
course.
Microsoft changed my
Right.
life because I had an inclination for graphics,
Right.
being a designer. So it
And
was
being
like,
a student of architecture
I
and
can
design.
do all this?
You're right.
Oh, my God. Charts and graph and you name it.
Right.
Definitely.
With just the mouse.
Yes, it was a game changer
Right.
for me to discover that. So this young lady taught me, and it was like, wow, this is so cool. And then again, I moved up again. I was
Yes.
because the word gets out.
Of course.
In the industry.
Quality knows quality.
Yeah, so I
Yes.
was commissioned to set up a new showroom, moved from a little showroom to like a 5,000 square foot showroom. And again, that was a whole nother challenge because being that Dominican is very international.
Very much so.
Yes, a lot of European influence
Right.
in the Dominican. So our thinking is that way. Our food is that way. Our
Right.
music.
It's multicultural.
Yes. So when I went there and I thought, look, there's all these Brazilians, that are visiting the showroom. we definitely need to expand this fabric line.
Right.
And why not Asia? So I hired a Korean young lady that was very well connected.
Yes.
But you know what? That was my demise.
Was it
There.
really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I was too inclusive. And that's 25 years ago, Dr. Levi, that hasn't changed.
What a statement. I was too inclusive.
Yes.
And that's what you think that everyone would want would be inclusivity and acceptance.
No, no.
Really?
Even now, no.
So you think even now divisiveness is the way to go
yes,
for
and
many people?
unfortunately, the political climate doesn't contribute.
Oh,
So,
it's definitely
yes,
not right now.
Yes.
That's
so
for sure.
that event, it's like going back in time.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So that really was because what I found out was that one day the person that hired me, he worked with me at another company.
Yes.
And at the time he was a sales rep, he became regional director manager, and he said, "Hey, something's going on. They're calling corporate office complaining about you." But then
Wow.
call
Wow.
2, call 3, and call 4, and he goes, "Forget it. We already know it's a plot."
Really? He said
yes,
that?
Yes.
Wow.
He said it's a plot. So then they had to start investigating. Then they start interviewing other sales rep, and then the stuff that shit comes out.
Oh, it's the fan.
Yes.
right.
Yes.
It is the fan.
Oh, well, yeah, that guy, that 72-year-old guy that used to be the showroom manager that was brought back to help you.
Wow.
He kind of hates you.
Really?
Yeah, the one that used to walk in every morning. "Good morning, my furlong." I should have known the minute he said furlong, that it was he was a part of the World War II.
Yeah.
So it was so weird. It was like surreal.
Wow.
When they told me all this, he's like, he doesn't like the fact that you speak Spanish. And he doesn't like the fact that you hired a Korean lady.
Really?
And he doesn't like the fact that all these other things, it was like a whole list that had been going on. So he put
in
up
his mind.
Yeah, well, he put up some of our clients to call corporate.
Oh, okay.
So that was like my first, Hollywood scene there.
Right. And then I think that's also a lesson in showing that sometimes the people that we think are really for us are really not for us at all.
No.
Yeah, that's tough though.
That hurts.
Because especially when we trust people and they break that trust, that's rough.
Yeah.
I find that of all the things I deal with, that Janet and I talk about that a lot, and Jessica, my office manager, loyalty to me and authenticity and truth. I think when those three things are broken, there is no relationship there, because then people show you who they really are as
and it's
Angela,
at all levels.
all
Marriage,
levels, right?
dating,
Family, friends,
family,
yes.
friends. Once that
Yes.
trust is broken, is hard.
It really is.
Yeah.
Now, what would you tell young people out there listening, men and women, what to do when they're in a situation like that, when people that they've put on this pedestal of trust and love and honor defile that, and they find out that they're really not for them, they're trying to tear them down? What would you say to people who need to hear something to be motivated to keep going forward in their lives?
Well, how did I handle it? Because it didn't end there. I was fired eventually.
Oh, really?
Yes. I was first given a
Whoa.
letter of warning. I said, but I did nothing.
You're just growing the business.
You guys already know that it was a plot, but then they sent in the national sales manager,
Oh,
and he
God,
hated
drama.
it. He was like dying. This man was wonderful, Bill. He said, "Cecilia, I hate doing this, but they asked me." He said, "And I know you didn't do anything wrong." So that was that. Then one day, the president showed up with my check.
Just like that.
Yes.
What did he
Gather
or
your
she say?
things, pick up your things, and so I lost the love.
No
for the
warning,
industry.
no warning
no,
or anything.
No warning.
Wow.
No warning. So that I never went back to the industry.
Now, what did that do to motivate you now in this chapter of your life? What did that single sentient experience do to motivate you to do what you're doing now?
Well, what I did was I sort of put that away.
Yes.
But then
You had to deal with it,
the
though.
circumstances brought it
Back to the
presented
forefront.
opportunity.
Uh-huh.
And that's where Latina Vida, the nonprofit,
Right.
came along. I'm not the founder. I can say I consider myself co-founder because I started with them almost from the beginning, and because of all the passion and love that I have for the
And
organization.
why was that organization created? Was it truly to have empowerment of Latino women? What
In
was the
corporate America.
in corporate America?
Yes, because these three founders came from corporate and are
Yes.
still dealing with corporate.
Right.
And they have encountered all of that, all of the discrimination because you're pregnant and all of a sudden you're not marketable. I just heard that recently.
Wow.
So I asked a big VP from a banking institution a few months ago. I said, just to prove that, to validate our existence, I said, hey, Claudia, what did you tell your superiors when you got pregnant? She's a VP now. She goes, I hid it for a few months.
Did
You're
she
talking
really
about a woman of now.
hit it?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And most recently, someone else shared the same thing that they were now like, wow. Actually, yes, 2 days ago, this other young lady that works in financial services that just had a baby. And
Wow.
she also, although they're independent contractors,
Yes.
they said, no, you can't come back. There's no such a thing as maternity leave. This is just six
Really?
months ago.
That's really
So that's what I'm saying. Women have a lot of things that we have to still deal with, struggle with.
right.
And really, it's going to take years if it ever even happens because this doesn't just happen in the U.S.
No, it's
Yes,
generational.
the issue is that the U.S., let's talk about maternity leave and all of that and parenting,
Yes.
absence or permit to raise your child.
Right.
We are behind in the U.S.
Oh, have been for many,
There's
many
other
decades.
countries that are
Yes.
way more advanced where
Yeah.
the father
Yeah.
can take a leave,
Absolutely.
yes, or up to a year or
You're right.
so.
Right.
There's sadly, yes, you think that here you would be encountering the most progressive thinking.
Right, but it's not.
No,
That's
no.
really amazing to hear that, though.
So what did I do? I left. I lost the love. I had people that kept saying, come back, there's this job opportunity. I left and I kind of went into this limbo state.
Right.
And I went back into retail.
Now, I have a question for
And
you. When you made that transition, was there any feelings of depression or loneliness now? Because you were doing something that you really loved, and now they abandoned you. You didn't walk away from it. You were made to walk away from it. So how did you feel? How did you feel self-esteem wise?
betrayed.
Yes.
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 Yes. I
But
felt
what do you do to strengthen
betrayed.
yourself, though, to not go into depression then, or to not just go into this victim? Because you project this extraordinary, fierce, strong woman. Why at that period in your life you weren't in a place of feeling like, well, woe is me? You never went into victimhood or martyrdom.
I think we all do at some point, but it's short lived.
Got it. Got it. And you laugh it off and keep stepping.
Yes. Like even now, as I'm older, I just say, okay, if I have a breakup with whether it's a girlfriend, a boyfriend, family member, I say, Cecilia, give yourself the permission, cry all you want, kick and scream, and then you'll get over it. And what I love,
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I love that.
because it's true, time takes care of everything.
It
It
does.
really does.
It
but
does.
but also so does night and day.
Yes.
Because sometimes when I'm feeling like that, I'm like, I can't wait till it's time to go to sleep, and then tomorrow I'm gonna feel different, and it's so true as
Crazy.
well.
Yes, it is.
So there's something about sleeping
Yes.
it off,
Yes. And literally
and the
off.
next day
Right.
you don't necessarily wake up.
Right. It's a rebirth.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So
I
that's
agree.
how those are the things that I give myself the permission
Right.
to do it.
Right.
But because I look back, I said, well, I went through this and I got over it, so I can get through this. There are times that I've had some really negative thoughts,
Yes.
and I'm like, I don't even want to live. I don't want to live through this one.
Right.
I'm
Right. Too
done.
much. Right.
Yes, it's
Right.
too much. The
Right.
pain is too much. And then, I don't know, I have something in me that makes me so resilient because there are those days that I don't want to be here.
Right.
I want to just like, God, take me away. I'm so done. I'm
Right.
tired.
Right.
But then something happens. Like I said, I go to sleep and the next day is a new day.
Exactly. Well, what do you think when you look at your life? What do you think keeps the magic in your life to really have this passion for everything that you do because you do so much? What keeps you with that fire burning in your belly to do this?
Well, first, I have an amazing family,
Yes.
amazing parents. They're my heroes. I
Yes.
look up to them. I live with them, and
Yes.
I'll explain why I live with them again. But they are my inspiration, my motivation,
Yes.
and even my fear.
Wow, that's
I think
powerful.
we all have to have
Wow.
some kind of
Yes.
fear as to,
Yes.
oh my God, I better not do that
Right.
because
Right.
fear is a good motivator.
Oh, it can. It can. It can keep you moving. It really
Yes,
does.
yes.
You know, now, what about your children? How do they impact the beauty of your life?
Well, my children are my little tribe.
Yes.
Most definitely. It's like I'm getting to know them every few months,
Yes.
is kind of how it feels. And the reason why
And
is
how old
because
are they?
I'm getting to know me.
How old are they now?
I have a 13-year-old. She's going to be 14 in a few days.
Excellent.
And my son is 19.
Fantastic.
So he's a cyclist, and Silvana, that's Christian, and Silvana is a creative soul,
Right.
very lightweight, free spirited
Yes.
child.
Yes.
Yes.
When you look at them, do you consider them your truly greatest joy of your life when you see your children? What is it like when you look at them and know that they're from you, that these are your children?
Um, there are days that is just you don't want to do anything else but to be a mom.
Really?
I'm like, would I give up everything if I had wealth? I would.
Right.
Let's keep
Right.
it real.
Right.
Yes, but I don't. So you have to fight for
Right.
them. But I'm fighting for my dreams
Exactly.
more than to even build a legacy. Because a lot of times people talk about financial legacy.
Right.
The truth is that they have to build their own.
Absolutely.
You just have to empower them
Yes.
to pursue that. It is wonderful if you can, leave a business they can inherit or run or
Yes.
money or other things. But I don't want to put that kind of pressure because I have to honestly live one day at a time.
I agree with you. I
Yes,
agree
it's
with you.
just too much. It became too much to think about. Oh my God, I'm this, I'm 53 years old and I don't have this and I don't have that and I have amazingly smart children.
Yes.
So my son is very entrepreneurial from a very young age.
Yes.
He's my other little hero. I mean, I'm like I live vicariously through him
Yes.
because I don't do sports. And I grew up in a family, that's all baseball all the time.
Right.
But I don't practice sports. I've never been attracted to any sport. And I'm always like auto criticizing myself because of that. And then I said, well, one day, just as I'm here now, one day I will run that marathon. That's
Right.
like
Right.
my
Right.
goal. Or
Yes.
I'm going to ride bicycles with my
Right.
children.
Right.
But that's not here yet. But
But
it's
but
in my
it's in a
bucket
it's in a
list.
bucket. There you
Yes.
go. There you
So
go.
I really lived that through my son who poured the adversity of our situation into cycling.
Yes.
So that's where he lets out that adrenaline because he went from track and field. I see the pattern track and field to cycling, mountain biking,
That's a
then
good
road
pattern.
cycling.
Yep. It's a good
Yes.
pattern.
So I said, you know what? It's a great sport because what is it that doctors like you recommend after people mess up their knees? Take cycling or
It's a
swimming.
good one.
Those
Yeah,
are the
you
two
got that
sports.
right. It's non-impact. That's true.
Yes.
That's true.
Yeah. So if that stays with him for life, the discipline that athletes develop,
Yes.
it's right there. You have an advantage.
Yeah, that never goes away.
Yes.
And that advantage of discipline can translate into entrepreneurial
Exactly.
issues, into relationships. You are disciplined. You will be honest. You'll be monogamous. You'll be focused on that person. It
Yes.
really does that.
Yes. So I see it in my father. And, I see it's a lot of my father and my son. And they have the blessing to live with my parents right now
Which is
and
fantastic.
to be able to enjoy them. Maybe they don't treasure it as much now, or
Oh,
maybe
but they
they're
will.
bashful, but they will.
Oh, yes.
They will. And we're very blessed that my dad is almost 80 years old, and he's still active with
Fantastic.
the Dodger organization, and he
Fantastic.
still does broadcasting or commentator. Like he corrected me the other day.
Oh,
It's
did he?
not
Did he
broadcasting.
really?
I'm a commentator.
Did he really?
Yes.
We'll have to have him on the show one day too to talk about his life.
Oh,
That's
he's
fantastic.
got an amazing story, and
He's 80 years old. That's a lot of wisdom
in
there.
February, yes. Wow. So my mom, she surprised me a couple days ago. She's like, "So I was talking to your siblings about your dad's 80th birthday." I'm like, "Oh, here we go, Cecilia, the party planner."
Really? Here we go.
Because I put their 50th wedding anniversary 5 years ago, and that was exhausting. And I did it in like a couple months, and that was a
How many
whirlwind.
people? 20, 30, 40
We
people?
had 120, 30 individuals
Well, that's a
and
lot.
people that flew in also, but it was a wonderful celebration.
Wow.
It was like renewing their vows. She was so cute.
That's
she was back in
fantastic.
a wedding dress.
Was she
and
really your mommy?
Oh yeah, she wanted the whole thing. My mom is a girl's girl.
She
Okay.
really- she wants it all. That's fantastic.
Yes, mom is a girl's girl, and I get a lot of even my fashion sense from her. The only thing I don't get is the cooking. I can, but I hate it.
Really,
And
I love
that's her like,
cooking.
oh my God, that
Really?
like drives her crazy.
Now I got a question. When you think about that statement, do you not love cooking, or do you not love cleaning up after you cook?
No,
Think about
I
that.
love doing the cleanup.
You don't like the cooking?
No.
See, I love cooking.
No.
It's so therapeutic. And
It is
cathartic.
therapeutic. It's like doing dishes.
The-
You're there. Some of my most creative moments is when I'm showering or doing dishes.
Oh,
They say it has something to do with water. I don't know.
I think it is the irons in the
but
water.
yes,
I
some
think
of
so.
my aha moments, I'm processing as I'm doing dishes. I'm thinking
Yes.
a lot.
Right.
A
I'm
lot.
with
And
you
I
there.
also have this great little view. I created this beautiful, we have a garden window, and
Yes.
Mom and I love plants and flowers. We have green thumbs. So
Yes.
people bring her orchids over the years. They've been bringing orchids, but I'm the one that takes care of them.
Yes.
So I have this beautiful view to look at. And also, if things, when we get Santa Ana winds now, like succulents, are like, it breaks my stuff. I'm like, you're not dying. I'm
Right,
going
you're
to
gonna
put
bring
you in
them back.
water,
Right,
and you're going to
right.
grow again.
Right. You bring them back.
Yes.
I'm telling you, she's a super Wonder Woman, green thumb. I mean, come on, you're spectacular. What does your family think about your extraordinary success and what you're doing and how you volunteer so much and with your organizations? What are their thoughts about you?
Well, I don't know. Volunteer doesn't equate money.
No, it does not. No,
Okay,
it
so-
equates to service.
Exactly. I became a professional volunteer.
Right.
And that was even through times of financial what's the
Despair,
word?
toughness.
Yes, toughness. When I first lived with my brother, we lost our home. I don't know. God obviously has a plan, even beyond what I'm
Absolutely.
doing right now, because I never wanted to stop doing it.
Right. Even when it was tough. Well, I applaud your service. I applaud your toughness. I applaud you.
care what they said,
Right. You just kept on doing it.
and I still do it.
Right. It should make you feel really wonderful because most people, as you already know, they will walk away from adversity. They'll be there when things are easy rolling, easy breezy. Oh, everybody's standing up. But when it's tough, when people have very little, those people you have to love and respect. Think about it. You went through when it was really hard, really rough. Bills can't be paid. House can't be paid. House is gone. Children have to be fed, have to have their tuitions paid. You still push through, still volunteering, still giving, even when you have very little to give. I applaud you. I applaud your strength.
I didn't have money to give, but I had me to give.
That's a
And
lot.
that was a lot.
That's a lot.
I had
And that there's no value
yeah.
to that. It's invaluable.
I recognized I had a lot of talent, and
Yes.
I had a lot of fire, and I did what the other people didn't want to do,
Right.
which is invest time. But the decisions I made were because I thought, okay, now I'm living back with family,
Mm-hmm.
and if I take on a job and my children don't have a father right now,
Right.
what am I going to do? How are they going to feel? It's already broken.
Mm-hmm.
I said, I'd rather not make any money and be with them.
Right.
because they need me right now.
Totally. They need all of you.
Yes.
Right.
So I sacrificed the income. And maybe because I still have some of that programming that my ex husband put in me about when I thought of taking a job, which I worked. See, that's the thing. Although I would have the ability and the really the joy to work from home when I was
Yes.
running the Moda Foundation for many years,
That's your family's
that was
foundation.
work.
Right.
That I
Oh,
had
it is work.
employees. So I paid my employees. I just didn't pay myself.
Right.
But
That's so
I
amazing to
think
hear
the
that.
fact that he was the attorney
Right.
and I was just the designer,
There's no
you know,
just. You are
it
the
wasn't
designer.
like,
Wasn't
well,
valued, you felt.
what job is going to pay you more than $40,000? You know, that was kind of like the programming that,
That he gave you.
yes, and it's going to go in babysitters and
Got it.
so, and I did not have to. At the time, we were okay. And we had a nice home. It was only my son for 5 years.
Right.
And then my daughter, when by the time my daughter hit a year and a half, she and I became roommates.
Right.
And that's when I made the decision that, you know what, we're just roommates. And it was a matter of time.
Yes.
I knew for many years. It's just that it's hard when you're in that situation and you don't have the self confidence
Right.
and you don't have money to say, I'm going to walk out. Where the heck are you going?
Right.
You know, it's very tough to say, go and tell your parents, can I move back in with you? When my parents had actually downsized.
Right. So you
Because I
they're
was
going
the
to a smaller
last
place.
one in the house. And after that, they sold the house when
Got
I
it.
married.
Got it.
So they were, you know, in a smaller place, more practical living.
Right.
So my brother, they didn't even know what was going on.
Right.
My brother, Domingo, who's a pastor who also serves the community,
Yes.
he said, you know, come with us.
Just like that.
So I left with my furniture that ended up in stores at a friend's and my clothes,
Yes.
my children. I did not move my children from their school. I didn't want to.
Right.
It was too much of a change.
Right.
So I left them. It was a commute to different schools, but it was okay. And I did that for 2 years.
Wow.
And then eventually I moved in with my parents. And again, we were just the gypsies, is what I say, my little tribe.
Right.
Twin trundle bed, my daughter and I on the top, and my son at the bottom.
Right.
And we did that up until 4 years ago. And my
Right.
mom, who's an incredibly tough but generous woman,
Yes.
having raised so many boys, she said we need to move into a larger space because your son's going to need his privacy. He's
Right.
a growing young
True,
man,
true.
and I can never repay.
No. Because they love you. They love you and they love your kids. You know, now I want to know, what would you share with people who are listening about leaving a relationship that no longer serves them? That you're with someone who doesn't want you to be the best possible version of yourself. If you're with someone who doesn't value you, doesn't love you, doesn't appreciate you, what did you do to have the strength to finally say, you know what, this is not working. I have to leave for my own physical and emotional and spiritual survival. I have to go. So what made you finally say, okay, I'm leaving, and what would you share with other people about making that type of move? Because like you said, where are you going to go?
Well, circumstances are different for everyone. I think that mine were the fact that we were losing the house.
Yes.
That's it. When you're losing your house, you got to get out at
Right.
some point. And
Right.
I said, I'm not going to wait for the marshals to come and put the,
The padlocks on. Right.
Yes, or the
Right.
sign on the door.
Right, exactly.
So we packed it up. I had an amazing assistant at the time for the Moda Foundation who was with me for 7 years.
Wow.
And that really held me for years. Having her and other amazing staff, and like I said, the support system that I had of people relationships of 30 years from the family.
Right. Truly a tribe.
That were there. Like I just met someone at another event that I emceed on Sunday, this gentleman that is connected to that family that was there when my children were born.
Wow.
This lady, Eva, thank you, who was ironing. When you're a first mom, everything you want it to be perfect. I ironed all of my kids' clothes.
Did you really? Did you really?
Yes. So
Wow.
oh my God, everything. So she would come and iron for me.
Wow.
So that's why I'm saying you don't do this alone. I didn't
No.
do it alone.
No,
I
you
would
didn't.
be foolish to say,
Right.
that it happened just by myself. No,
Right.
I do have a lot of inner strength, and I think
Yes.
that also that's what attracts the people.
Absolutely.
And the fact that, in spite of the fact that we grew up with this, my father, such a legendary, figure in baseball, a
Absolutely.
pioneer who
Yep.
also paved the way for other Latinos
Yes, he
and
did.
also people of color in
Absolutely.
baseball.
Absolutely.
He's an incredibly humble man. So we are a reflection of him when it
Absolutely.
comes to that.
Absolutely.
And he has, planted so many seeds, and so have my mothers. I've seen thank you letters come from people because beside us, there were many other children raised at our home.
Oh, really?
So the service people's children were also raised at our home, and my mom would send them to school
Really?
as well.
Wow. So your
So
mom was like a
it's
stepmom to
so
other.
yes, I mean the Modas have impacted
That's
many in many
fantastic.
many ways. My brother Domingo has what he calls a Fruity Fridays in Sun Valley, where he picked a very neglected, blighted area of Sun Valley. And again, because that is the connector, so we all inherited that from him.
Absolutely.
Those PR skills,
Right, right, right.
and knocked on the door of a produce company, and he started giving produce and vegetables to this community.
That's
And
fantastic.
this is his 10th
N-
year.
And that's your brother who's the
That's,
pastor.
yes, that's
Wow,
Domingo.
what
Yes.
your family really has an amazing legacy of giving and of service. You really have a lot to be proud of. Really phenomenal family. Just phenomenal.
So I say the apple didn't fall far from the
No,
tree.
not at
All
all.
of us. And when we're all in tough times, also we support each other.
Right.
I feel that they've supported me more because I have some, a couple of siblings that are incredibly successful
Right.
financially.
Yes.
One of them is who was also a baseball player, Andy Moda. He's also a baseball agent. But
Right.
Andy worked very hard. He's a very loving father,
Right.
very devoted father. And Jose Moda, who's a broadcaster for the California
Of
Angels.
course.
So they support us in so many ways. But I have an incredibly kind tribe of siblings.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
I love hearing stories about family because I always say, friends will come and go, but
Yes.
family, you got them forever.
Yes.
And when you got a good family, you got a blessing. You got a lot.
Yes, every single one of them, one way or the other. I know that I have their love. And you know what? At times, that's all you need.
Correct.
That's all you need.
Cecilia, I have to thank you. You were just a phenomenal woman. I applaud you for simply being you. That's enough. The world still is not ready for you, though.
And you said something that's so true. It's just be you. You
Absolutely.
are perfect the way you are.
Absolutely.
Even I have I was nominated by the same organization that I devoted 7 years of
Right.
my life, the National Latina Businesswomen Association. Tomorrow, their gala,
Yes.
and I was nominated as inspirational leader of
Congratulations.
of the year amongst 11 other women.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that touched me because that's the organization that I devoted a lot of years and that I said I'm going to do it. I don't care what people think.
Right. And
because-
now they're thanking you.
Yes.
I think it's fantastic.
Those amazing women. There's still a lot to be done.
But you're doing it.
Yes.
No, and this is Dr. Levi. I want to thank Cecilia Mota for being with us. Is she phenomenal or what? The whole room is like electrified right now. I wish you could feel what we're feeling right now. It just makes me want to be a better man and to give even more of my time. Now, how can people reach you if they want to have you for motivational speaking or to have you come to their panel? How can people contact you?
Well, they can find me on social media as Soy, which is I am. Soy
Okay.
Cecilia Mota. I am
Fantastic.
Cecilia Mota. Facebook, I have a fan page. Instagram, Twitter, is all the same.
Fantastic.
Soy Cecilia Mota, and they can listen, to my show as well.
Fantastic. And when is your show also? Let's plug
Every
your show.
Tuesday on RadioLatinoInc.com, and I'm very thankful to Sonia Morphy who believed in me. I went to promote an event,
Yes.
and I got hired the next day.
Awesome. Say, she is just an amazing woman. So please reach out to Cecilia Mota if you want a phenomenal, spectacular woman to really present authenticity and gratitude, and above all, our highest art of humanity is service. He wants Cecilia Mota. Just phenomenal. I want to thank Cecilia for joining us today, and thank you so much. This is Dr. Levi with your show, The Dr. Levi Show. Remember, be kind to everyone, and remember, you are enough just the way you are. Stay in gratitude. You need validation from nobody else. You're perfect the way you are. Love you. This is Dr. Levi. Bye.